You know how sometimes you see a David and Goliath story play out, but like David just keeps winning over and over.
Yeah, like it stops being an upset and starts being the norm.
Exactly. That's kind of the story we're diving into today. The really extraordinary success of the Classical Academy girls flag football team right here in San Diego's, super competitive sports scene.
It really is a remarkable situation. You've got this smaller charter school, and they're not just like holding their own. They're dominating in a way that's made everyone sit up and take notice.
Totally. And for our listeners, whether you're deep into sports or just appreciate, a great story about beating the odds, understanding how they're doing it. And our goal, our mission, I guess, is to figure out how Classical Academy, this smaller program, managed to grab 2 straight CIF championships. And not just win, but win big against some established powerhouses.
And doing it, from what we've seen, with a really positive team vibe, that's key too.
Okay, so let's set the scene a bit. When CIF officially sanctioned flag football their first year, they basically exploded onto the scene.
They really did. The Escondido Times-Advocate pointed out how quickly they were ranked high up, like 3rd in the section, 18th in the state, 22nd nationally. That was early in their first season.
Wow. So not exactly easing into it. That's a heck of a start.
It really is. It shows they built something solid right from the jump. 2 consecutive CIF championships.
Let's talk about that first one. Division 2. They played Cathedral Catholic.
A school with a massive athletic reputation. Yeah.
And the score, 50-0. A shutout.
In a championship game, that's a statement you don't see that often.
No kidding. And the details from Prep Insider on that game are pretty telling. Ella Moore, the quarterback, a freshman,
threw 5 touchdown passes. As a freshman in her first CIF title game. The poise on that.
Unbelievable. And it wasn't just the offense clicking, was it?
Not at all. Justine Batchel, who we heard is just super versatile, she had a key interception early on that stopped a Cathedral drive cold.
Right, killed their momentum.
And then Giselle Nunez got a pick 6.
Yeah.
An interception return for a touchdown.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the defense was firing on all cylinders too.
It sounds like total domination, both sides of the ball.
Pretty much. And you get a sense of the team feel from what the players said afterwards. Like Ella Moore, in one of the transcripts, said, "From the start, I knew this team was special. It has been a very fun environment, like no other team I've ever been on."
This says a lot, doesn't it, about the culture they built so quickly?
It really does. And Batchelor's comment about the shutout, "I thought we'd win, but I didn't think we'd shut them out." It's like, even they were a little surprised by how dominant they were.
Okay, so fast forward. Next season, they bump up to Division 1. You'd expect, okay, now it gets really tough.
Right, a higher level of competition, naturally.
And the result, same story. Another CIF title, this time against Torrey Pines.
And Torrey Pines is another really strong, established athletic program. This wasn't some fluke win against an easy team.
Definitely not. And wasn't there something about their record against Torrey Pines that whole season?
Yeah, that's a key point the Escondido Times-Advocate brought up. Classical actually beat Torrey Pines all 3 times they played that year.
3 for 3 against a team like that.
But sweeping them, including the championship, it shows consistent superiority, not just one good game.
That pattern of winning against a strong opponent, maybe that's even more impressive than the single blowout win the year before.
You could argue that, yeah. It shows sustained excellence. And that championship game itself, the Union Tribune called it a wire-to-wire win. Classical jumped out early, 28-6 in the first half.
It's taking control right away. And Ella Moore again.
Phenomenal again. 23 of 27 passing.
Yeah.
For 273 yards and 4 touchdowns. Just incredibly efficient under pressure.
Wow. And Batchelor was involved again, too.
Yeah. 2 touchdown catches and a rushing touchdown in that final. She really does seem to be everywhere for them. A real do-it-all player. You wonder how they develop players with that kind of versatility.
And then there was that pick 6 by Mary Hayes.
Right. Start of the second half. The Union Tribune said it basically put the game away, extinguished what hope Torrey Pines had left. Talk about a momentum killer.
A huge play in a championship game. It makes you think about those turning points, you know?
Absolutely. So when you look at both title runs, it's the way they won and who they beat. Shutting out Cathedral, decisively beating a strong Torrey Pines team 3 times.
Yeah, these aren't teams used to losing like that. It really forces the question, how is this relatively small charter school doing this? What's going on there?
It really does.
Yeah.
It can't just be luck or one-star player. There has to be a formula, right?
So what is the formula? What are the sources telling us?
Well, it seems like a mix of things. Coaching definitely comes up a lot. The Times-Advocate gives head coach Dan Salas a lot of credit for creative offensive schemes.
Creative how?
Fast tempo, really strong passing attack, but also using misdirection, laterals. things to keep the defense off balance. Defensive coordinator Marcus Preciado, former San Diego State player, remember early in year one, they gave up just 14 points in 9 games, with 7 shutouts.
That's just stifling.
Totally. And assistant Matt Hayes is mentioned for effective blitz packages too, so a well-rounded coaching staff.
And it sounds like they're good at identifying talent and putting players in the right spots.
Exactly. Coach Sal's mentioned in the Prep Insider piece that they focus on figuring out each player's strengths and building the system around that. They even have fun naming plays, apparently.
Adds just a good atmosphere, doesn't it? Even while being intense and focused.
Yeah, it sounds like it. It makes you think, how much does that fun element contribute, even at a high level?
Okay, so great coaching, but you need the players too.
For sure. And the descriptions paint a picture of athletes who are not just skilled, but smart. High football IQ. A lot of them play both ways, offense and defense.
We've talked about Ella Moore's IQ and accuracy. What about the others?
Well, Justine Bitscheller, besides the versatility, is noted for great hands and being super competitive. Giselle Nunez brings speed, vision, instincts. Another playmaker.
And Mary Hayes, the pick-six hero.
Speed threat as a receiver and a safety on defense. So yeah, they seem to have athleticism across the board on that relatively small varsity roster. Only 16 or 17 players, I think.
That's interesting. Does the smaller roster maybe help with chemistry?
Coach Salas seemed to think so in that interview. He suggested it helps build unity, make sure everyone knows their role, everyone counts. Maybe there's an advantage to that tighter-knit group sometimes.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Which leads us to maybe the most important part, the team culture.
Yeah, that seems huge here. We heard Ella Moore's quote earlier about it feeling special, like a family.
And the Cayman Athletics video had players talking about how welcoming it was, especially for younger players, how they all support each other.
That camaraderie, that support system, it feels like the foundation. The Times Advocate mentioned that when they started getting attention and feeling pressure, they actually had a players-only meeting.
Oh, really? What came out of that?
They basically decided together to, get back to just having fun playing the game, to refocus on why they started. That shows incredible maturity, right? To self-correct like that.
Definitely. That's a sign of a strong culture, and it sounds like fun is a big theme.
It really is. Players on Prep Insider kept talking about purpose, but also just enjoying it. One said something like, playing against them is going to be fun, competitive, and push you hard.
That's a great quote. It captures that balance. Competitive fire, but also enjoyment. A championship caliber mentality, as one player put it.
Exactly. It feels like they're not just focused on the scoreboard. They're winning, yes, but they seem to be doing it well the right way.
How so?
Well, beyond the family talk and the fun, the sources mention their focus on building the program for the long haul, working on mentality, practice habits. It's not just about this year's trophy.
Right. It's sustainable. It's about hard work, doing your best, and actually enjoying the process of getting better.
Precisely.
Yeah.
It's genuinely refreshing to see that combination. Elite level success and a seemingly really positive, healthy environment.
Yeah, it proves you don't have to sacrifice one for the other. You can build a powerhouse and still have it be, a great experience for the players.
Absolutely. The joy comes through, the family feel, the fun. It's clearly a special mix they've got going on.
So let's wrap this up. We've seen how Classical Academy, a smaller charter school, has just taken the San Diego girls flag football scene by storm. 2
straight CIF titles, dominant wins over huge programs like Cathedral Catholic and Torrey Pines. It's an incredible run.
And it's not just talent, not just coaching, though those are obviously top-notch.
Right. It's deeply connected to this strong, positive team culture. They love the game, they play for each other, they have fun. Good sportsmanship seems baked in.
They've really shown how focusing on those values can fuel amazing success, maybe even more so than in programs that only focus on the wins. Which kind of leaves us with a final thought for everyone listening. What can other teams, other programs, maybe even in completely different fields, learn from Classical Academy's approach, regardless of their size or resources?
Yeah, how does that intentional blend of developing talent, smart coaching, and fostering that genuine love for what you're doing, how can that create unexpected, sustained success?
Something to think about. How building the right kind of team culture might be the ultimate competitive advantage.